Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am making a delicious savory roast in my slow cooker with my secret ingredient, a can of Guinness. All right, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire, welcome. Come on in, make yourselves comfortable. Do you like to use your slow cooker? I do, I use it all the time. I've done tons of slow cooker recipes on this channel, and I thought this was the perfect time to do another one because, well, I'm using my slow cooker today, and why not film it and share it with you? This is a eye of round roast. An eye of round is traditionally a cheaper cut of meat because it is kind of tough. So it's good for stews and things like that, but also great for the slow cooker because the slow cooker will ensure that it's nice and tender, low and slow all the way. That is the best way to cook any sort of traditionally tougher piece of meat. Now, we're not using this whole thing because it is 7 pounds, and that is an absolutely enormous amount of meat. So I'm probably gonna cut this in half, put half of it in the freezer, and then the other half we're gonna eat today. I wanted to share with you this amazing deal because I picked this up at Gordon's or GFS, and that is a place I really often overlook when it comes to, like, I don't know, anything. I don't know why I popped in there the other day, and they had like this whole section of discounted food, and I got 7 pounds of round roast for $13.51. So that is crazy cheap for all this meat. But yeah, you could also use, you know, the other traditional, you know, chuck roast or the other sort of, you could use probably a pork roast, pork loin as well, too, in the same sort of style. However, I've got this big old bad boy, so that's what we're using today. All right, I will leave the full ingredient list down below, but real quickly here, you're gonna need your cut of meat. I also have tomato paste, garlic, 2 onions. My beer, I chose Guinness because Guinness is the best dark beer in my opinion, but use any dark beer brand that you prefer. I also have beef stock. I have chosen a 21 seasoning salute because I like that it's got a little bit of everything in there, but you know, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder, any type of those types of seasonings, whatever you normally use, do it. I've also got salt and pepper. As far as veggies go, I've got 2 types of potatoes. I also have some baby carrots, as well as a handful of rosemary from the garden. Yes, even in the winter in Michigan, I'm still getting sprigs of rosemary. I also have a bit of olive oil here, and I also have a bit of brown sugar. Before I get started, I do want to mention that it's important to let your meat come to room temperature before you get started. So mine is still a little bit cold because I'm gonna cut it and put half of it back in the freezer. But I did want to let you know that you should do that first. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is mix up my spices here. I'm gonna be using a whole tablespoon of this 21 spice salute. But again, use whatever spices you're into. I'm also gonna put a ton of salt in here too. I would say like a teaspoon probably, at least. I'm also gonna grind my pepper in there too. Probably, again, about a teaspoon. All right, the next thing we're gonna prep are the onions. And I'm just gonna go ahead and chop them. You could use 1 large onion, but since these weren't that big, I thought 2 would be best. Also got some garlic here, and I firmly believe you have to measure garlic with your heart. I'm just gonna run these through my garlic press. All right, now that our sort of prep work is done, I'm going to pat my meat dry. And now I'm gonna take my mixture from before, all of our spices, and we're going to just coat it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and heat up a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. I am using my stainless steel pan. I think probably a cast iron skillet would be probably pretty good in this instance too. Just to make sure it's big enough. All right, now that my pan's nice and hot, I'm gonna go ahead and brown this on all sides, probably just a couple minutes on each side, just so that it's It's nice and brown. All right, now that this baby has been sufficiently browned, oh my God, it's so big. I don't know how to get it out. Ugh. I need stronger tongs. Oh my God. And now I'm going to add in my onions and my garlic. Wow, so graceful. All right, once our onions are a little bit translucent, we're gonna go ahead and add our tomato paste. We're gonna throw 1 tablespoon of tomato paste in there. Now we're going to use our beer to deglaze this, and you're gonna need 1 cup and 1/4. And make sure that you're getting all the little bits from the bottom of the pan up into this nice alcoholic sauce. It won't be alcoholic when it's done, don't worry. We're gonna bring it up to a simmer now. Now that it's starting to simmer lightly, I'm gonna go ahead and put in 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And I'm also gonna just toss in my sprigs of rosemary. And I'm just gonna let this simmer for like a minute. All right, it's time to assemble everything in our slow cooker. The first thing we're gonna put is the braising liquid, which is our beer and spices. Well, not spices, just the rosemary, I guess. But the onions and the garlic and all that. That goes in first. Then on top of that, we're gonna put our meat. Just slide it in there. I still cannot get over the size of this thing. Okay, it's in there. Now I am going to put our veggies, all these lovely potatoes, and of course our carrots. I love just buying bags of baby carrots like this because then I just don't have to deal with chopping any carrots, and it's pretty nice. All right, so this bad boy is pretty full. And the last thing we're going to do, this is our beef broth. I have 1.5 cups of it. We're just gonna pour that on top. And there we go. She's ready. So depending on when you're planning on eating this, you can cook it on low for 8 hours or high for like 4 to 5. My meat is pretty thick, so I'm cooking mine on high, and I'm gonna guess it's gonna be more around the 5-hour mark. But you wanna just test it to see if it's tender, and of course I will show you when mine is, and then we're gonna make our gravy. All right, so it's been almost 6 hours. It smells so amazing. I cannot wait to try it. It is falling apart a bit. I poked it with my fork. You do want it to be falling apart, but again, this is like a tougher cut of meat, so it might not be like the most fall aparty pot roast you've ever had, but it's gonna be really, really good. So I'm actually going to put it in a baker and throw it in my oven just to keep it warm while we make the gravy. So, I'm gonna toss it in there and just like, you know, cut it up a bit. It's really falling apart quite nicely. And just portioning it out will just make it easier for us to eat. This baker is also the perfect size for me to throw all the veggies in there. If I find any of these like stems left over from the rosemary, I'm gonna pick those out too. I'm gonna throw a little bit of this juice over the top just so that it doesn't dry out while we're making our gravy. All right, so the gravy I'm going to make is just how you make most gravy. You start with a roux, flour, butter, and then we are going to strain all of our delicious beefy juices into it, and it'll thicken into a nice gravy sauce for us. When I make gravy, I use a 1-to-1 ratio of flour and butter. All right, now that we have our nice smooth gravy, I'm gonna throw it in a gravy boat and we're gonna serve. All right, you guys, we just finished dinner and it turned out so amazing. I definitely love this type of food for any time of year, but especially when it's cold and gray and sad outside. I think that the slow cooker is the perfect solution for all of, like, I don't know, your cozy like food needs. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know, are you gonna try this recipe? Have you done something like this in your slow cooker, especially with the beer? I would love to know, because really it made the meat taste incredible, so I would be interested to know if that's a thing you've ever done. Of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and come on back for more of this type of content, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!